hi everyone, I'm Anna Glavinsky and I'm really delighted to be here as part of the volunteer celebrations. It's really amazing hearing about what everybody here has been doing and dedicating your time to. So huge well done, and thank you so much for having me. I have a background in cycling and in TV presenting, mostly within the world of cycling as well. So massively passionate about two wheels. I've been involved with Cycling UK for a few years now, and as I said, it's great because I really do love cycling, but there is a bit of a challenge because I'm not actually based in the UK. I'm living in Spain at the moment, and so what I'm kind of hoping to do is steal some of the Cycling UK ideas and then implement them in this country. And I've got an awful lot to learn from you guys on the call today as well. Actually being down here, I've actually started a little cycling group, which I call, it's very informal, and I call it my granddad gang, because I'm the only person in the group who's not a granddad, and I feel a little bit like a fish out of water at times. There you go, Stephen. Got that one in there for you, see what I did there. So, learning about how to bring different people into groups, making sure that everybody, no matter what their background, no matter what demographic they're from, feels welcome, is something that we're going to be going into a little bit more in today's discussion. And I'm really looking forward to speaking to our speakers. We're going to have Marina Friend on the call, Sue Cartwright, Richard Warburton and Rakaya Muller. But I think we're going to be playing a video first. So sit back and enjoy what we've got to see here.
Cafe in Erdington to Brookvale Park. Yeah, so have welcoming people onto the ride. Are you okay anyway?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah. Do you want to be with me? We have the ride briefing. Welcome to the Cobble Cycle Cafe. First thing we're going to do is do a bike check. So check the air by pressing down on the front, and then check the back tyre. And the next we're going to do is check the front brakes, check the rear brakes. We're going to check the chain. Right then, so the other thing just to mention is everybody feeling okay? Is there any particular new health conditions? Okay, no problem. Today we're going to go to, so mainly gentle on cycle pathways, a lot of it's off-road. We have a short break so people can sort of get to speak to each other on a social side. At the end of the ride, we always ask people if they want to stop for a coffee, and so they can just catch up and just ask them how everything went and just get to know them a bit more.
It's just brilliant. I just love being out in the fresh air, and it just brought back those memories when you were a child. I used to do a lot of cycling as a child with my brother. It just brings back all those memories of the freedom, the wind blowing on you. It was just fantastic, loved it, and since then I've been hooked.
It's catered for like beginners and people that want to chat together while they're cycling, and so it's a great ride to get people started. Yeah, we have a good laugh as well. Yeah, that is very important, yeah.
There are over 100 of these community cycle clubs throughout the UK. Why not check on our website to find out where your nearest one is. These clubs have been made possible with the help of the Tackling Inequalities Fund, provided by Sport England.
Cool, brilliant. Hopefully everyone kind of that all worked. I've got no messages telling me it didn't, so touch wood.
Yeah, we got that, I think, Tom. I certainly got it anyway.
Perfect. That's the main thing. Brilliant. I just before we kind of start off the panel, I just suggest everyone in the top right, if you pop it in gallery view, that's probably the best way of sort of seeing everyone who can speak. Probably easiest. But yeah, back to you, Anna.
Cool. All right. So as Tom says, if you pop it onto gallery view, that will be the best format because we're going to have a few people on the screen at one time. I'm going to call them up now and then we'll let them introduce themselves individually. So we've got Marina Friend from the CTC Coventry, Sue Cartwright from Cobble Cafe Easy Riders, Richard Warburton from Bury Tandem Club for blind and partially sighted people, and Raquela Muller of the Cycle Sisters. So yeah, welcome and thanks for joining us today. This panel discussion is all about how to welcome new riders to the group, and you've been specifically selected by Cycling UK from a diverse range of backgrounds and types of cycling clubs because you've been particularly successful in recruiting new riders and making them welcome. So how about we start with Marina, if you just want to say hello and let us know who you are, please.
Hi, hello. Yes, I'm Marina Friend and I'm from Coventry CTC, and our club is celebrating its 100th birthday this summer. So it was a very eventful summer with lots of celebrating events. Yes, and I joined the club only 3 years ago and became a leader just before the first lockdown. So that was a little bit unfortunate. So I'm leading rides for just over a year, and I'm now responsible for, well, I'm a coordinator of rides for women's group, for our women's group.
Fantastic, brilliant, thank you. And Sue, so Sue Cartwright.
Hi, hello there. So I'm a ride leader with Cobble Cafe Easy Riders. We've recently, probably around about June, we actually joined, affiliated with Cycling UK and joined Jackie Shill from the Cobble Cycle Cafe. We originally had a group that was part of Ride Active, part of British Cycling. And that was kind of in more like deprived areas around the city. And that when all that stopped, we got such a great group of people. So we kind of, the thing for myself was just to try and keep us all sort of in touch with each other. And obviously last year was quite challenging with the lockdown, the last sort of year and a half. So what I kind of did was did Zoom calls. We kind of put the rides on Let's Ride, so we kind of, you know, meet up with a group. But it's been absolutely fantastic since we've started from the Cobble Cafe, and Vanessa Morris from Cycling UK has been really supportive. And it's the fact that we've got a base as well. And I think we've had some new people that have joined as well, and I think they just find it really friendly, really sociable. And it's just a great way to meet new friends and just encourage people.
And so what type of group would you say you are? I mean, you know, we're talking about diversity here, but
yeah,
in general, how would you sum up your
Well, it's very diverse mix of people from different backgrounds, different ages. We've got a mixed group on a Sunday morning, and sort of different abilities, but a lot of the rides tend to be up to about 11 miles. So they're not sort of really long rides. And a lot of it's sort of on cycle pathways, little small roads. So it's kind of a great way to get beginners to started on the ride. So it's just, I think that's great in just getting new people and encouraging them.
Excellent. Yeah. So, I mean, would that be the name Easy Riders? Is that sort of to encompass the fact that it's starting in an easier format? You know, you're not going to turn up to a massive club that's doing milli-mile rides.
Well, I think the Easy Riders kind of stem back from going back sort of from quite a long time ago, because it was kind of a group that started quite a few years ago, and that kind of name, they kind of meet at on a Wednesday morning, so the same group of people have kind of kept going all that time, but it's just evolved, and then we've just sort of had new people that have joined, and it's just people from different parts of the city come on our rides as well, because they've got to know each other. And it's just a great way to, you know, and I think joining Cycling UK feels a bit more community based, and it's great to reach out to the different cycling groups, which I think that's what we kind of done. So
yeah, excellent, brilliant. Okay, and over to you, Richard. So Richard Warburton from the Bury Tandem Club for blind and partially sighted people. So you're really aiming specifically at a target group, and it sounds like you're doing wonderful work. Tell us more about you and what you do. I think you're on mute. There we go.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, the group's been going 37 years now at the end of this month. And it was set up by our president, Derek Pritchard, when he was losing his sight. He was a keen cyclist. He's now 83 years old, and he set up the group. It's pretty vibrant at the moment. I started some 10 years ago, and I'm now a trainer, one of two trainers that trains new pilots and welcomes them to the club. It's very vibrant at the moment, the club. I don't know whether that's because of lockdown or because of our targeting riders. We currently have 16 pilots, which is the front riders, and 11 stokers, which is the blind and partially sighted people that are on the back. So things are going very well. We've also got a list of about 8 or 9 people that's put their hands up, waiting to be piloting, waiting to be trained and ready to and we've also recently acquired another 2 or 3 stokers as well. So it's going pretty well at the moment.
Excellent. So the tandem bikes, you know, there's 2 people on one bike essentially, and I guess the pilot is the person at the front who has their vision, and they will be the main leader of where to go, but allowing somebody who's partially sighted to still enjoy the freedom of the bicycle. I see that's probably how it's set up. And I'm particularly interested there in the story of the president of the club, because it sounds like he set it up when he had a diagnosis that he was starting to lose his sight. And here we are now 37 years later. He's the ripe age of 83, so fantastically, sounds like he's still enjoying his cycling. Are you able to tell us a little bit about him and how his idea for the club evolved with him and his life?
Yeah, I'm sure he won't mind me telling you. He's got retinitis pigmentosus, which is a degenerative disease. Passed on, it's hereditary as well. It's passed on by his family, his mother and father. And he's always been a keen cyclist. And like I said, when he started to lose, he's an engineer by trade. He still maintains the bikes. We have a mechanic as well. But Mark and Derek, they're there every Saturday mornings at the workshop preparing the bikes for the Sunday. And he's still as keen as ever. So, you know, it's his baby, really.
Yeah.
It's his religion almost. Very
fantastic. And what about you personally? How did you come to get involved with it?
Well, I'm an ex-firefighter, and I retired. I've been a keen cyclist for a number of years, keen sportsman really. But when I retired, I saw it advertised in the local newspaper. So I thought I'd give it a go. And here I am, 11 years later, getting more involved. But it's very rewarding, you know. As you wrapped up, Anna, it's you know, giving somebody else less fortunate than myself the opportunity to get out on the bike.
Oh, well, excellent. Hats off to you, literally, just for responding to that ad. And it sounds like it's been maybe potentially quite life-changing for you, and I guess for some of the riders that you're taking out. So well done. And we're going to be picking your brains a little bit more shortly, but we'd like to have an introduction from our final panelist, Raquela Muller from Cycle Sisters. Hiya, how are you doing?
Hiya, good afternoon, everybody.
Because I've been having a chat with BT.
Oh, sorry, 1 second. I think somebody's got their mic on and we're getting a bit of background noise. So can everyone just pop their mics off, apart from our panelists? Thank you.
I thought that was my voice then. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Raquela and I'm a ride leader for Cycle Sisters based in Waltham Forest in London. What can I say? We've set up the group to get more Muslim women out and about on their bikes. It was set up in 2016, 5 years ago now, and I'm one of the the ride leaders that started to help to start it off. The whole group itself is more of a social and a friendship thing, which is like more women want to get out, especially those who wear the headscarf, but they don't want to get out by themselves. And they look around and thinking, oh, I feel a bit odd cycling on my own. But groups like this help women to get out. And it's amazing how many participants we have weekly, because we have weekly groups on a Wednesday and a Saturday. And it's amazing how everybody, it's a great group just to get the Muslim women out. And a lot of us women, we started off with hiring bikes out from the council, but now we've also got our own bikes now, and it's great because we've all got used to cycling around on our own now, which gives us a confidence, and it's a community feeling. We're based in a couple of other boroughs in London. We're trying to widen it as well. So I help support the new ride leaders, and I mentor the new ride leaders as well. And it's a great, all in all, it's a great group to join, and just trying to get those who might not, those people who lack confidence. I think it does help them a lot, because even though you haven't got a bike, we have bikes that we can hire out for the day, and it kind of encourages everyone to say, actually, if we've got a space at home, we can actually buy a bike, and some of us have. So yeah, it's a great group. I'm glad we started it.
Yeah, well, I've been following a lot of the work that you've been doing for a couple of years now, and it is thriving. It really does seem to be growing every time I have a look at it, and more Muslim women riders. Great to see. Our next question is going to be asking everyone to help identify barriers that stop people from maybe joining a cycling group in the first place. Now, you've all got very different types of cycling groups, which means that you've got maybe different niche experiences, which everybody listening can maybe then learn from each one of you to help encourage other people from whatever backgrounds into their clubs. And I'm going to start with you, Rokeya, because you said something very specifically there about Muslim women often wanting to wear the headscarves. So I thought maybe if we'll just start with that point, and then maybe you can expand a little bit more about what barriers Muslim women traditionally faced in getting onto a bike in the first place.
Yeah, sure. It's not just the headscarf, it's also the long dress, which is called an abaya, that some women wear as well. And I think that was a kind of a drawback to a lot of women thinking, oh, well, if I've got this on, I'm going to look a bit silly on a bike. But then with a group like this, that we set up a group on purposely for this, so other women see us and thinking, okay, if she can do it, so can I. We've had a lot of, we do a lot of events with the local mosques around as well. So it's kind of a big community feel around the borough. And you look out now, and like this morning we went out cycling as a group, and you'd be amazed to see how many women wearing a headscarf are cycling around. It's really encouraged a lot of women around here.
And how do you, I mean, with that particular one about the headscarf, how do you go about tackling that? Is it just about visibility and letting other women see, oh, well, she's doing it, so I can too? Or do you do things, adjusting helmets? You know, I know that some people want to wear helmets when they ride. Has that been a barrier to people, so Muslim women particularly, getting onto a bike? Has there been some education of saying maybe you don't always have to wear a helmet? Things like that.
So wearing a helmet is up to each participant, but those who do want to wear it, we have had a couple of lessons of how you can fit your helmet on, regardless of what headscarf you wear. I think the main thing, when I was talking about earlier about the abaya, the long dress, that some of the women wear, they find sometimes while we're cycling, it gets caught in the chain, that kind of thing. So we've had a couple of lessons on what you could do wearing that. How could you kind of lift it up a little bit, but not too much that you feel a bit awkward. So we've had a couple of lessons in that, and that actually helps. And also when we have other riders coming on, like new riders coming in and asking as well, it will be just not me, but there'll be quite a few of us who say, okay, let's show you, let's see if you can do it this way, if you can do it that way. So that is an encouragement to them as well.
Fantastic. And I've just seen in the comments here from Jackie to say that she's in Liverpool. So further north up the country, they say want to branch out a little bit more. And they've attracted a number of Muslim women who have joined their group. They've either come individually or some have brought some friends too. So it's that knock-on effect. So
Great. It's
yeah,
great.
fantastic to hear. Sue, I'd like to ask you about, again, the same question really.
Yeah.
Barriers that might stop people, or you've heard that people have said might have stopped people joining groups in the first place. What sort of things have you encountered?
I think one of the barriers could be whether they've actually got a bike to ride in the first place, which is a valid
Pretty
point,
big
isn't it?
barrier.
Really? Yeah, definitely. I know from when we were part of Ride Active, we had bikes that we could sort of get people to use. And one of the ladies in particular, when we actually moved away from that, you know, I actually kind of went with her to try and source a bike. We kind of tried to use our connections to try and get something that wasn't too expensive for her. But actually from the cafe itself, E-Bike Brum, they actually have e-bikes. And one of the things that we've been doing is loaning out bikes to some of the people, which for some people in particular, if they've got maybe even like say their fitness and maybe they're going on a slightly longer ride, or an example is my sister in particular, she's a ride leader, but at the moment she's actually off because she's going through chemotherapy treatment. And so obviously she actually helped on one of our rides, but the fact she used an e-bike actually helped her to actually join the ride, and it just gave her that extra power. You know, so there are different barriers sometimes, you know, and that could be one of them. Sometimes it could be fitness, it could be health conditions. So I think community cycling groups in particular, if they do have a source where they can give them use of a bike, I think that can really help, because not everybody has the luxury of having their own bike. So. Yeah,
there are some really, really brilliant points actually there. Like, yeah, how can you start cycling without something to cycle on? So great point. And also about e-bikes. They're just massively growing, and they're such a facilitator. I'm hearing it more and more about helping people get into cycling. And so how do you let people know that, you know, cycling could be for them? Do you have some word of mouth from the cafe, some marketing, or is it just?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is word of mouth, and through friends. And I know with Jackie, with the ladies they take out in the week, they take out a lot of the mums, you know, who've got children, and they get speaking to each other, and I think it's just they get to know about it, and then they obviously want to join the rides. And you know, and some of the rides in particular, they've been sort of up to about 15 to 20 miles. And obviously to get them used to riding that distance, actually riding on an e-bike can actually be great in giving them that sort of confidence, whereas they may struggle with their fitness, especially when they're new to cycling.
Yeah, and you're saying that actually earlier on joining with the cafe has really helped facilitate the growth of the group and things like that. So I suppose maybe some groups listening here could potentially think about something similar. You know, where could they get pool bikes from, or where are businesses or hubs that they could work with, or something along those lines.
Also, there's obviously a Facebook group for E-Bike Brum as well, so you can put information about rides. We recently had like a women's festival of cycling. That was couple of weeks ago, and that was a different range of different distances. So we've got 8 miles, we've got sort of up to about 20 miles, and then we've got 30 miles. So we had a whole spectrum of different abilities, you know, and it was just I just sort of helped with the one that was sort of 8 miles. And one of the ladies was quite new, and she was using one of the e-bikes, and it obviously just getting her used to it, and you know, on the ride itself, but it kind of gave her a lot of confidence, you know, and she just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I tend to hear that. So that's really good. And if this is resonating with anybody or it's sparking an idea from anyone, please do put it in the chat. You know, we've got somebody speaking here about the abayas, because that just came up in the conversation. So again, you know, any comments on e-bikes or in your area where people can access them or anything like that, please do get involved in the chat. And over to you, Marina. So your club's been going on for a really, really long time. I'm sure you've heard all of the excuses in the book. What potentially stops people from joining groups in your experience?
Well, I think it could be anything really, because we are all so different. It could be, I think mainly, and also talking from my own experience, people may find our club or any club in the area, and like our club, and see that we are going for a ride 20, 30 miles, 40 miles, 60 miles, and think, oh no, there is no way we can do that. And this is how I thought. I didn't want to go on a 30 miles ride, no way, because I thought I couldn't do it. Then when they arrive and they see all our club members wearing their lycra, and they're thinking, oh my God, I haven't got such clothes, I don't know what to wear. We've been recently, we've been quite successful in engaging more women to join our club. And we started this campaign about 3 years ago, because mainly all members of our club were men in lycra. And this is what we thought that women were scared of, that they can't keep up with all these men in lycra. So we started organizing women-only rides, slightly shorter, asking to wear something pink, red, anything, just our women color. Even if you don't like it, I personally don't like this, but just to show that this is going to be women's group, just for women, just for us, for girls, enjoyable, relaxing, and that worked really well. So we started with women's ride, and we did women-only tour, which you can look at it from different points of view. We can say that, yes, girls, we can do it, just us, with no men, we can manage with punctures and small problems we can get, obviously, on the tour. And we were very successful on our 3 days tour and repeated it again. Well, yes, that's what I'm trying to say, that we continued doing things for women only, participating actively in Women's Festival of Cycling, doing different rides of different lengths. As Sue just said, we offered trying to engage new women by offering shorter rides, offering rides from different locations, so it will be easier for the participants to get to them. What else? Again, did another women's tour. We also, it's just slightly different. We also now have a few women who joined our club recently who are deaf. They used to ride together. They used to ride with British Cycling with Breeze, but because of COVID, those rides were cancelled and there weren't any. So they decided to join our club because we had women-only rides. And the very interesting reason why they wanted to, they're very strong riders, all of them, but the very interesting reason why they wanted to go on women-only ride is that they communicate by lip reading, and they cannot, I mean, they can read women much better than men. They said that it's very, very difficult for them to read men, lip read men. So they were very delighted to find our women-only rides and joined us.
Wow, that is mind-blowing. It never occurred to me that that would be such a thing. And it just goes to show the importance of having diverse groups. The knock-on effect of maybe having more women in your group or more Muslims in your group would then spiral out to then allowing more people to come in for whatever reason, whether you could think of what that reason is or not. And do you know what else I really liked about what you said about the ride where you wore pink or red? And it is similar to, in a way, what Rokeya was saying about something that makes a real visual statement. I think people who maybe don't know if cycling is for them, sometimes you're not going to get the opportunity to talk about it until you've already, I don't know, where does that idea come from? So if you see a group of people riding past, making a really loud visual statement, then that can have a huge effect. So I love that. And if anyone else has any experience of sort of, I don't know, fancy dress rides or rides where you just try something a little bit different and it's attracted new members, again, please get it in the chat. So lots of ideas going around. And Richard, over to you again. So your group is aiming at a very niche set of people. I think it's quite easy to assume why it would be difficult for a blind or partially sighted person to join a regular cycling group. So just talk us through that a little bit, if you can, please.
Yeah, a bit difficult to quantify really, but from a pilot's point of view, the people on the front, I would say all of them are already cyclists. Some of them, you know, riding a tandem is very, very different to riding a solo bike, and some people can't grasp that. So that could be seen as a barrier. From a stoker's point of view, I would think the confidence would be a thing. Again, they're not currently riders, but they have ridden when they had sight or been able to. I would say most of the stokers had some kind of vision. There are 3 totally blind people, but I would imagine the confidence will be a big one for them, and also the distance. Did they have the confidence to be able to complete the distance? Because we do between 40 and 60 miles per ride. Less in the winter and more in the summer, for obvious reasons. But we do talk about doing shorter rides to trying to accommodate new people if they do fear that you know they're going to struggle with the distance. As a pilot, you don't want to let your stoker down, so it's really important.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. That you want to give as good an experience as possible, so you don't want to be the first one to blow whilst they're still like having a great time.
Yeah, handlebars.
And have you ever heard of, and this question again goes out to the whole audience, of regular clubs, so they're not specifically aimed at blind and partially sighted people, but have started incorporating the concept of what you guys offer, you know, tandems with pilots and someone on the back. You know, have you ever heard of other groups that are regular cycling groups that have started to incorporate tandem cycling in their clubs? And again, likewise to the audience, has anyone else had any experience of this? So yeah, Richard, have you ever heard anything sort of further afield, where the people who outside of your club are maybe able to take their skill and use it outside of the parameters of your club?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any cycling clubs per se that accommodate tandem riding, as far as I'm aware, but I am aware that up and down the UK there are other tandem clubs for blind and partially sighted people.
Yeah, so important.
There is club in Coventry.
Pardon?
There is such club in Coventry.
There is one.
Yeah.
There are a few. There's one in West Yorkshire. I think there's one in Scotland, Edinburgh, that I'm aware of. So there's one in Merseyside actually, because we joined up and cycled with them once a few years ago now, obviously before COVID.
Yeah. And would you say that at some point in the future we might see a time where tandem clubs or tandem riders, blind partially sighted riders, can join their pilots on regular club rides in wider groups? Yeah,
there's no reason to suggest not. That would be a real good idea and a real advance really, to integrate them with solo cyclists.
It would, wouldn't it? Because that's, you know, if we're talking about inclusion here and diversity and getting new people into your clubs, then it shouldn't, ideally, it shouldn't all be separated into these groups. These groups should maybe be feeders to an ideal world where everyone can ride together in whatever group. And since,
Mariana, we do on occasion have solo bikes on our rides. You know, members that don't have a stoker to take, might come, or somebody that's in training might come along, you know, to meet up and cycle with and get to know the members of the club, really.
Excellent, cool. And in the chat as well, Julie said there's a few tandem pilot opportunities. So if anyone is interested in volunteering to ride with partially sighted people, as Richard said, it's extremely rewarding. You get to cycle and you get to help someone else too as well, who wouldn't otherwise be able to. So there's a link in the chat. Do have a click on it if this is something that interests you. So everyone in the panel as well, I just want to know how, what sort of benefits has your group got from being with Cycling UK? What sort of support do you get? How has it helped you? I'm going to start with Marina, please.
Excuse me. I think the main support is coming because obviously I am mainly responsible for women's ride, and our club has been successful in engaging more women, nearly 50-50 now. I think that most help is coming from Women's Festival of Cycling. We follow the program, trying to join different events. We had some editable posters, some advice. Also, we have a rep in our area now from Cycling UK who helped us to organize a couple of events. This is the outside of our women's cycling. We wanted to engage some of our communities into cycling at the beginning, families and beginners. So he helped us to get in touch with them, which was very, very helpful. Yeah, that kind of.
Yeah, it's really great to hear that the Women's Festival has been so big for you guys. And again, if anyone's looking to want to get more women into their groups, then I do suggest they find out a little bit more about the Women's Festival of Cycling, or even if you've got a lot of women in your group and you want to engage them a bit more, connect them a bit more. The Cycling UK do offer a lot of resources during the Women's Festival, particularly, that are fun as well, exciting, educational and useful. So maybe drop Julie a question if you've got any questions. Sue, what about you? Benefits of Cycling UK, how's it? Because you've joined quite recently, you said.
Yeah, it's only been sort of the last, I'd say, I don't know, 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
It hasn't really been that long, but I have been in contact with Vanessa Morris she's taken a real interest in our group previously as well. So she's just kept in touch. And she's just been a great support really, and just in terms of engaging with our group and finding out what's happening, giving me advice. We've got like a chat group for a lot of the sort of community cycling groups of the ride leaders and the people that actually run those groups. So it's a great platform of actually sharing information. So then we can share that information with our groups as well. Any information like, if there's doctor bike checks or whether there's any rides going on. And obviously if there's any training opportunities. So I just find it really, really supportive and really helpful.
Excellent.
Well, I felt a little bit, I'm a British cycling ride leader, and obviously in the lockdown, everything kind of went all quiet. And so I just feel like it's still great with British cycling, but I just feel that Cycling UK is very more community based, and you get to know more of the community cycling groups. And I'd like to learn obviously a bit more about what other groups do as well, so I can learn as well, because I'm still learning, because I'm trying to just help put these groups together, keep our group going, but I'd like to create more rides. But I've got a full-time job as well, so obviously I'm a PA, so I just do that in my spare time. So
yeah, well, within reason or whatever you can fit in, like we're all still learning, and that's but today we want to celebrate but also educate as well, so that's brilliant. And this comment is awesome from Jocelyn. Sarah Park CCC is based in Small Heath in Birmingham. They've got 6 ride leaders, 3 women, 3 men. Riders come from multicultural backgrounds. They also have members who have autism plus children. Various rides from 6 miles to 40 miles, on-road, off-road, women-only rides, mixed riders and family rides. I mean, that is just living the future dream that we all who support Cycling UK want to see for the whole nation. That is awesome.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, love that. Thank you, Jocelyn. Richard, so your club, what sort of support do you get from Cycling UK?
Yeah, we're fairly new to the club. Sorry, to Cycling UK. We have talked, and to be honest, the prime reason we're now affiliated is the only stipulation the club insists on is that the individual pilots have insurance. So we use your insurance, you know, either affiliate or individual membership. Having said that, you know, once we found you, you know, you've got a plethora of information on there. So you need answers to any questions. You know, that's the go-to place.
Yeah, there's definitely loads of info.
And you know, another example, we have club tops, you know, and you provide that service. There's all sorts of different, like I say, a plethora of information, really.
Yeah.
Useful from that aspect.
Oh, good. Well, I'm really glad that you're finding it useful beyond the insurance, which is also very useful. A boring thing that ride leaders do have to think about.
Yeah, we insist on that because obviously it's the integrity of the club really that's at stake. So that's why we say, you know, you have to be insured.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ruqayyah, I understand you guys have been with Cycling UK for quite a while.
Yeah, we have. I think I'd probably just repeat what Marina and Sue were saying about definitely about the support we got for Women's Festival of Cycling, and probably the training opportunities, the advice for the ride leaders, the information that we get. It's amazing. We get a lot of support from you, and it's been great.
Good. I'm really pleased to hear it. Does anybody have any questions for our panelists, or, you know, indeed just any comments about, you know, how inspired that you've been from the things that you've heard? Please do get it in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to be handing back over to Tom, who's going to be talking about how to get the party started this evening. You know, we've had some really inspirational talks, really informative. But later on this evening, we're going to get a little bit silly and have a bit of fun. So if there's no questions in that case, I just want to say thank you so much to our panelists. You know, huge range of information there. And then hopefully ride leaders can pick little bits from what each of you have said and slowly make their clubs and groups that little bit more diverse and welcoming and accessible to everyone. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.